Hi, welcome back to Cubs and Culture for January 26, 2018. This section's mostly going to be about issues of like zeitgeist or timing. So, in the last section, I talked about this change in the ending that Peele himself decided to make, in which in sort of the original ending, as the film was scripted and this movie was written, at the it was started in like Obama's first term, but then it was finished up in Obama towards the tail end of his presidency. The film only went into production like in 2016, though. In any case, so in the original ending, Chris becomes a martyr, which of course sort of works to complete the theme of racism, and then how that system dehumanizes, etc. But in the actual movie, he ends up being a hero character in this. So, like, the thing is, if you look at the two endings, unfortunately, both were shot. I don't think internally, like just by the text of the film, like I don't think there's quality difference between the two of them. That in a sense, I don't really prefer one ending over than the other. At least insofar as what's anything that's internal to the text itself. Now, with that being said, I think if the original ending was maintained, this film would still be utterly successful in multiple ways, but it would come across, given sort of the Trumpism, Trump being a jackass and being racist and basically destroying the republic. They would come across as far, far darker and more biting. And like, I don't know if that's because of what's external to the movie, if that was necessarily a good idea. So it'd be interesting to me if, let's say in like 15 years or something, if Peele comes and revisits this film, if it's re-release it, but with the original scripted ending, and to see if that changes how people feels about it, because of it's sort of interesting the way in which historical time periods can interact with films. So give me a moment. Okay, so the other sort of example I have about this, and I also sort of just want to champion another little film that a lot of people, which I think if you like Get Out, I think you'll love this other movie, Slither. So Slither is this, it's written and directed by James Gunn. And instead of being like, instead of having like a 70s horror feel to it, it has like an 80s horror feel to it. In any case, it's the movie in a gist, and spoilers, is about an alien creature who comes to Earth to basically take over the Earth, and it does that by first taking over this one patriarchal husband who patriarchal husband who basically married his wife because of, like, she had to marry him because of money. And then the way in which the creature's biology works, he has to impregnate a woman who makes these worms that then the worms go into people, so it becomes something of a zombie film, etc., etc., etc. In any case, the main point of the matter is the central sort of relationship in the film is between the alien creature and then this notion of love, and this married and this woman who kind of doesn't love her husband because she only ended up marrying him for survival. So it comes across as sort of this feminist critique of marriage. And then also most of the male characters, especially Bill Party, who's played sardonically by Bill Fillion, are absolutely useless in this movie. That for the most part, it's women who save the day. And in a lot of ways, I see like Bill Party's ineptitude very, very similar to where Bill Porty's commentary on the genre being inept is sort of because he's a sheriff cop. Is very sort of similar to how Rod is sort of commenting on the genre by yelling, "Get the fuck out of there" all the time. The thing is, this movie, when it came out, it languished in obscurity. It only made like $12 million at the box office, and like Get Out was released, I don't quite remember, but February, early March, so it wasn't like a tentpole or anything. And I've always, I really, really like this movie, and I think it's I think it's the best horror film of the 2000s, like from 2000 to 2009. And but the thing is, back in 2006, there wasn't, there was, of course, there was a lot of politics, excuse me, happening, because there always is, but there was nothing, it wasn't during the Me Too movement, or it wasn't during, Hillary Clinton running for president for the first time or the second time. And so I'm wondering, not that there's any way of checking about this, if you release Slither, maybe not, the moment might have passed, but if Slither was released in August of last year, I'm wondering if it wouldn't have been a bigger deal. The movie was well received by the critics, like 85 on the tomato meter. And so it's just sort of interesting that you have these two, they're about a decade apart, but these two really great horror comedies that mostly at work, whose their main sort of interest cinematically that they're a great fun homage to a series of horror films. And for Get Out, it's 1970s. For Slither, it's the 1980s. But they all sort of have sort of commentary along identity politics, right? Sexism or racism. One was Get Out was heralded as the best film of the year by a lot of people. And it's got an Oscar nominations, which is virtually unheard of. It is unheard of for a horror movie released in the early part of the year. The last one to do it was Silence of the Lambs. Whereas Slither's just sort of, withered and died in obscurity. And it's kind of just makes me I'm not trying to steal Get Out's thunder here, because again, it's a damn good movie. I hope it wins something at the Oscars. Excuse me, it's my third favorite film of the year behind Greatest Showman and Coco. At this point, I haven't seen Shape of Water or The Post or some of the other contenders. But it's just sort of weird to me, how the way in which films text, and again, maybe develop a more systematic exploration of this in the future, but the way in which these films text interact with the time period, and I really do feel like if Slither was released today, it would have been a lot better received in terms of the popular reaction. Also would have helped because James Gunn is the Guardians of the Galaxy guy, so of course for advertising, hey, come see this little film by the Guardians of the Galaxy guy. So let me just kind of wrap this up. I'm only mentioning Slither because of the sort of different reactions popularly, and also I just wanted to plug it for a second. But the bottom line about Get Out is, one, don't listen to you can, if you like listening to me, listen to me. But if you're interested in how sort of the lived experience of racism that this movie deals with, do not go track down interviews with Peele and the cast members. Don't listen to me. I don't know. I've never lived it. But here's the thing. I think the movie is absolutely enjoyable as just a horror film without the commentary. The commentary, it's necessary, and it's good that it's there. But in 20 years, hopefully the commentary, the joys of the movie of it just being a great horror story, will still be there, and hopefully the social commentary is irrelevant because our society has gotten better along these lines. Okay, I feel like I'm... Oh, one other thing. I'm obviously feeling anti-Trump. One possible, and no way justifying, silver lining of what the country is going through right now is Get Out. Kind of made me think about this. Is there was during the Nixon years, there's a lot of very interesting films that came out, like Godfather and Dog Day Afternoon and Star Wars and a whole bunch of other stuff during the Nixon years. So maybe one of the, again, silver lining, nobody justifies what's happening, not worth putting up with fucking Trumpinism, but maybe cinema will be really interesting for the next, hopefully only 4 years, but might be 8. I just made myself very, very sad. So I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully something will fucking happen in baseball. Cubs and culture out.